Hello, dear good students. Very good morning to you all. In the last class, we have completed plate load test, CBR test in detail with specifications and results, graphs which are required to be plotted and to evaluate CBR value, and modulus of subgrade reaction from plate load test. Today we will see the different tests conducted on other basic materials used in construction such as aggregates. Aggregate is a collective term for the materials such as sand, gravel and crushed stone that are used with a binding medium such as water in waterbound macadam, bitumen in bituminous road construction of different types, and Portland cement in cement concrete construction. Even lime is also used in base course and sub-base course to bond the aggregates between together to have good strength and capability to withstand or sustain loads coming over it from the vehicles when they are moving on. To form compound materials such as bituminous concrete and Portland cement concrete by volume, aggregate generally accounts for 92 to 96% of bituminous concrete and about 70 to 80% of Portland cement concrete. Aggregate is also used for base and sub-base courses for both flexible and rigid pavements. Aggregates can either be natural or manufactured. Desirable properties. What are the various properties is very essential to evaluate in the laboratory. Anyway, in term work you will be going to conduct all the tests and you will be calculating the results, and also you will be plotting the curves wherever it is necessary. However, in theory class, at least we shall have to know about some desirable properties and related what are the tests, at least name we should know. Strength, first one, next hardness, next toughness, and so on. First we will see strength. The aggregates used in top layers are subjected to directly stress action due to the trophic wheel load. Second, wear and tear, that is due to friction between the wheel of the vehicle and the pavement. Crushing for a high quality pavement, the aggregates should be possess high resistance to crushing and to withstand the stresses due to traffic wheel load. Therefore, they should have good strength. Hardness. The aggregates used in the surface course are subjected to constant rubbing or abrasion, what you call. Rubbing means abrasion due to moving traffic. The aggregates should be hard enough to resist the abrasive action caused by the movement of traffic. The abrasive action is severe when steel-tired wheels of vehicles moves over the aggregates exposed at the top surface. This is especially in case of waterbound macadam road and gravel roads as such. Toughness. Resistance of the aggregates to impact. Suppose there is a hump, road hump, a speed breaker. When tires moving from higher elevation to the lower elevation, then naturally there will be sudden impact. Termed as resistance of the aggregates to impact is termed as toughness. Aggregates used in the pavement, aggregates which are used in the pavement should be able to resist the effect caused by the jumping of the wheel tire, as I have shown, tired wheels from one particle to another particles at different levels. I said elevation, it is nothing but level, causes severe impact on the aggregates that should be resisted by the material. That's why these are important properties. Strength property you can evaluate by going for aggregate crushing value test, aggregate aggregate crushing value test, whereas hardness you can go for Los Angeles abrasion test, toughness impact value test, impact value test to find out the toughness. So the different tests which are required to be performed are to understand in order to decide the suitability of the aggregate for use in pavement construction. Following tests are to be performed: crushing test, abrasion test, impact test, already said, soundness test, that is with respect to weathering, 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 not WHE. Shape test, that is with respect to flakiness index and elongation index EI, dimensionless quantity, it is in percentage. Specific gravity and water absorption test, this is also important, how much water the aggregates will absorb. If the absorption capacity is more, then naturally voids present will be more and aggregates will become weaker. Specific gravity reduces. So specific gravity and water absorption is inversely proportional. If the absorption is less, specific gravity will be more. And bitumen adhesion test, this is also known as stripping value of aggregate. Stripping. So in presence of moisture, the bitumen which is used as a binding material will strip out. Thereby the aggregates will become loose, and when vehicles are moving with high speed, the aggregate will protrude outside and it will be removed from heavy wind, and loss in the volume of aggregate and that layer will be increases. Therefore volume of aggregate reduces and gap will increases. Next, crushing test. Importance of crushing test. The aggregate crushing value test indicates the strength of aggregate, which is the most essential property of coarse aggregate. The aggregate crushing value provides a relative measure of resistance to crushing under gradually applied compressive load. Gradually applied compressive load on the mold, which is consisting of aggregates. For achieving a high quality of pavement aggregate of higher crushing strength, low crushing value should be preferred. In order to say the aggregates are having higher strength, the crushing value which we obtain in the laboratory should be less. Lower crushing value means higher strength, as it indicates a lower crushed fraction under the load. This gives a longer service life and a more economical performance. This is the apparatus which we will be going to use. You will see each and everything in laboratory when we do the practicals. However, for your information, all the dimensions etc. are given. This is the cylindrical measure. This is the cylindrical measure. This is the mold of standard specified dimension by IRC and other IS codes. This is a plunger which is used for loading purpose. This is the base plate. This is the tamping rod. So when you are putting the aggregate, in the mold, after it is taken from a measuring cylinder, you have to tamp it using a tamping rod, and then 1 centimeter diameter tamping rod, 30 to 40 centimeter length of rod, you have to close the particles in order to reduce as much voids as we can, so that it takes load very effectively when it is subjected for compressive loading under UTM, universal testing machine. So recommended grades etc. are being given here. We will explain all these in detail along with the equipments during practicals. The code which we are referring for conducting this test is IS 2386 Part 4 1963 and British Standard 812-110 in the year 1990. In 1963 this code was standardized, right? Then apparatus for crushing test, as I already said, compression testing machine or universal testing machine, crushing mold, cylindrical measure of 15 centimeter diameter with plunger and base plate. I have already shown. Once again it will be explained during conduction of practicals. So this table is used for selection of a particular size of material in case of abrasion test. Los Angeles abrasion test. There are 7 to 8 grades of aggregates have been standardized by IS 2386. So in that, what are all the various dimensions through which the aggregate should pass and should retain to take for the test. In crushing value, passing 12.5 mm sieve and retained on 10 mm IS sieve in the previous case. In the previous case, passing 12.5 mm, passing 12.5 mm, retained, this is passing. So passing 12.5 mm and retained on 10 mm IS sieve should be used for the test. After the test is over, you have to take 2.36 mm IS sieve and sieve it. The weight of fines, we will explain during practical, just theoretical knowledge. Weight of fine should be taken into account with respect to the original weight of the aggregate taken for the test will give you crushing value in percentage. So in detail we will see when we come to those practicals. So similarly here the different grades, grade number 1, grade number 2, grade number 3, etc. are grade A, B, C, D. So grades are given here. Dekho. You see here the grades are mentioned very clearly. Grades are mentioned here. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I said 7 to 8, 7. And these are the sieves. 80, 63, 63, 50, 50, 40, 40, 25, 25, 20, 20, 12.5 mm, 12.5, 10 mm, 10, 6.3 mm, 6.3, 4.75, 4.75 and 2 mm. So different grades, if you are taking for example 40, 25 for A grade, 40, 25, passing 40, retained on 25, passing 25, retained on 20, 1.25 kilo, 1.25 kilo, 1.25 kilo, 1.25 kilo, total 5 kgs you have to take. So number of spheres or charges, caster and balls you have to take is 12, which is to be put in this Los Angeles testing machine. This is the Los Angeles testing machine. Abrasion test is carried out. So we will continue in the next class this abrasion test. It takes more time. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Just go through all these table, figures for dimensions, IS code numbers. So frequently if you keep on study these, you will remember the specifications, you will remember the